It's time for Justice 78, a pre-trial look at today's top legal action. Hosted by Brad Muswiger, Tina Majors, and Paul Shuggs, and sponsored by Lexter's Foamy Meringue Shaving Cream. It tastes as good as it works. And now here's Brad.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Justice 78. We've got a full schedule of action in the Justice League today, so let's not waste any time. And now here's Paul Shuggs with a brief rundown of today's top trials. Paul.
Thank you, Brad. You're a beautiful human being, and I just like to put my hammer down. Okay, first off, prosecuting attorney Avery Sampson Jr. is facing defense lawyer Tom Granger in an important armed robbery case. This takes place in the Eastern Division. It's the second time these two have met in head-to-head competition this year. Granger came out on top in that case, but it took place in Los Angeles in his home court. This time, the showdown is in Washington, and the home crowd should give a little extra incentive to Sampson. And later on, the big trouble-header trial that will be seen on most of these same stations, defense attorney Willem Ogelberg will be putting his perfect record on the line when he faces prosecutor Jack Jackson in a controversial murder case. It's an important trial for Ogelberg, who can assure himself at least a wild-card berth in the playoffs should he win today. And I certainly hope he wins today, because, you know,
really,
they've had a little trading problems, things like that. And, of course, there's that big arson case that you'll be seeing right after this telecast. You'll be hearing more about that one later. Now, let's go over to Tina, who's the feminine side of the newscasting here. Hubba hubba for this week's personality profile.
Thank you, Paul. This week, thank you. This week, I had the great privilege and honor to interview Judge Mean, Dirty, Nasty Jones. And despite the label crumb that's been hung on him, he's really a very warm and thoughtful human being. This is what he had to say about his image and his career as a judge. Tell me, where you ever got the nickname Mean, Dirty, Nasty?
I sent away for it.
Doesn't it bother you that you've sent over 200 people to the electric chair for misdemeanors?
No, I do anything for Mr. Meaner.
What?
Oh, never mind. It was just a silly little joke.
Oh. But doesn't it upset you when you're called the hanging judge?
Who called me that? Come on, who called me that? I'll kill him. I swear I'll kill him. Tell me, who called you that? Who said that? I'll hang up by your thumbs. Who called me that?
This is Tina Majors, reporting for Justice 78.
Very interesting interview, Tina.
Very beautiful.
A good profile of the hanging judge.
Nobody calls me that.
What are you doing? Get out of here!
Get this guy out of here! Get this guy out of here!
Well, that about does it for our pre-trial show. We'll be back to later to wrap up today's verdicts. But now let's go over to Toledo, Ohio for live coverage of the case between Ray Bradshaw and Jason Friedman.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Metropolitan Courthouse in Toledo, Ohio. It's 72 here and we have a sellout crowd with very few no-shows. It appears we'll be starting the trial very shortly, and the blackout has been lifted. It should be very exciting.
That's right. Defense lawyer Ray Bradshaw is fighting for a man's freedom today, but the odds are stacked against him. His client is charged with arson. There's a lot of evidence against him. He was seen running from the scene of the crime, had gasoline on his pants, and was screaming, "I did it, I did it." To top all this off, Bradshaw's top aide has a torn ligament and will not see any action today.
Looks like it's going to be an uphill climb for Mr. Bradshaw. Oh, it appears we're going to be starting the introductions in just a moment. Starting for the defense is attorney Raymond Bradley Bradshaw.
His assistant, Arthur Conrad.
His researcher is Ronald Darnell III.
And now for the prosecution. Starting at prosecuting attorney is Jason Friedman.
His assistant is the lovely Molly McNeilson.
And his researcher is Lou Stuckey.
The judge is Honor Omar Jensen, serving as Senator will be Judy Baker, and the bailiff is Robert Greenlee.
Okay, gentlemen.
I want you!
This is heads and this is tails, caught in the air.
Heads!
Heads it is. You wish to examine or cross-examine?
Oh, let's see. I'll examine first.
That gives you choice of sides, Mr. Fremont.
I'll sit over here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the defense will examine and sit over here. The prosecution will cross-examine and sit over there.
Okay. All right, we got it.
That's right.
Your Honor, I call as my first witness, the Honorable Mr. Dagwood Bumstead. Mr. Bumstead, how long have you known the defendant?
Oh, for a while. Is it all right if I make a sandwich?
Sure, go right ahead, Mr. Bumstead. Let's say, would you say that my client is an honest man?
Oh, yeah, of course. Listen, could you hurry up? Mr. Dithers is going to be really mad if I'm late for work.
Your Honor, I failed to either listen to you this my testimony.
Yes, Mr. Bradshaw. Exactly what is the point of this questioning? Well, you see, Your Honor, Mr. Dagwood Bumstead is a character witness. I see. How long do you intend to carry this on? Oh, well, I'm finished with the cross-examination, It's your witness.
Okay, all right. Just a minute. I know it's in here somewhere. I had that paper this morning.
Stop the action in order in this court. The penalty is against the prosecution for delay of trial. Automatic loss of cross-examination.
Elevator, we got jack! Elevator, we got jack! What is this stuff?
Does the defense wish to call any more witnesses? No, sir, I rest my case. Very well, then. This court will adjourn for halftime.
Well, the defense seems to be in big trouble, wouldn't you say?
Yes, he's going to have to regroup, maybe change his trial plan during halftime, unless he wants to see his client go to prison.
Right you are, Susie, but now it's time for the Object, Sustain, and Overrule competition, sponsored by the National Justice League and Lexter's Shaving Products. These youngsters have come from all over the country to take part in the quarterfinals contest. Earlier today, they competed in the sustain and overall portions of the competition. Now they'll wind up the contest with the objections. First, from Tacoma, Washington, Sally Ann Taylor.
Your Honor, I object on the grounds that he's leading the witness.
From Miami, Florida, Billy Tatum.
Your Honor, I object. He's intimidating the witness.
Yeah! Fine job. Yeah. Now from Toledo, Ohio, Susie Matson.
Your Honor, I object. He's not only turning this trial into a mockery, but he's insinuating that my client was in two places at once. Thus, he hangs a gloomy cloud over this courtroom and makes justice a dirty word.
We'll notify you who won as soon as the judges have tabulated their scores. Well, now it looks like we're ready to pick up the second half of the trial with the prosecutor calling his first witness.
Your Honor, I call to the stand defendant. Are you not guilty of the arson of which you are charged?
Who, me? No way, man. I was nowhere near that place when I went up in lovely red flames. I was home watching the 700 Club.
I find it very hard to believe you.
Is that so?